Yeah, and that's stuff that can be fixed.
I'll just tell Ernie after
outside the fence.
It's no big deal until something happens. Yeah, that's the thing. Once we know, we've got to do something. So I was leaning on pretty good today, and I think we'll get it done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good. At least somebody we're going to lean on.
That's the only
that.
problem we have consistently, like every week, is just that one.
Yeah, we'll stay on top of it. Thank you, Chief.
Should I? Yeah. What do you want me to do?
Just make everybody.
You ever been up to the State House when they're doing theirs?
They haven't taken that far yet, but they
start reading something, they'll hit
crazy and aggravate each other.
Yeah, they beat the heck out of that thing.
Just for the heck of it?
Every 3 seconds, it seems like when they go to the next topic, they move on votes and stuff. It's crazy.
So that's why they use it, is to like change topic, topics changed?
Yeah.
They need it.
What's thing?
I know, how do you get that fixed? I saw it today.
Are you kidding me?
At 9 o'clock. It's an hour behind.
We're only an hour behind, Tony.
We didn't spring it forward.
Nope. I better go get one. I'll get you one. I have one in the back.
On Central Time.
Is that it?
Yeah, that clock back there.
Oh, Board of Works first. Honey, you can have it.
If I start having a coffin fit, I'm leaving. If I start having a coffin fit,
Okay.
I'll be walking out. Here's roll call.
Well, we got your back.
I forgot. He'll come over there.
Otherwise, you'll think I'm a tuberculosis patient over here or something.
It's all good,
Got
man.
my little coffin fit.
All good.
Just a reminder, we do have advance payments.
We do?
We will.
Okay.
One is the Hollywood Casino, the Cold Expo. Second payment of 3.
Okay.
The other one is the Brickwater Powerboat, final payment.
Okay.
There is a sign sheet that they'll be signing for that too. That's in council.
Do you want me to list those when I say that?
You certainly can, they're right here. I can leave this out just for the time being.
Yeah, do that.
But it'll be during council.
Okay.
How's the guy doing in your room?
He's done. White panel is out there.
I turned my phone off. I forgot.
Yeah.
Especially in church.
We get it or we got it? I just talked to what? Do what we need them to do. Crank it tomorrow. Don't look healthy.
Good deal. Good deal.
I know it's here.
That's it.
We'll go for it.
You control.
No, you control that.
No, it's nice.
Oh, okay.
I called my wife, told her to go.
Thank you.
Really nice
I may
stuff.
say 7.
Like I was surprised. Honestly.
I like 7 better.
I mean, I just pleasantly surprised. Like walked in, I was like, I told them their bear skin that was hanging over there. Said, Al, that's an elk hide. It's not a bear skin. Yeah.
I spotted that bear skin. I didn't say that to him.
I told him. He said, I'll change that right away.
Don't get called out.
Oh, yeah.
Asked that question last time.
You guys ready? Oh, you guys ready? All right. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for June 1st, 2017. Can I get a roll call, please?
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills. City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements. I don't have any tonight, unless one of you fellers or folks have anything. Okay, other than that, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Yeah, I distributed May's run totals to y'all tonight. You should have a copy. We had 31 calls and 14 fire and 17 EMS. We've been pretty busy here lately. It seems like we're having a working fire about once every week and once every other week. So, been busy. That's all I had.
Okay. Police Chief Don Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the board, just to let you know that our equipment for our new cars have been installed. Both of our cars are completed. They're both on the road. Very fine job. I'm very happy with it. Our new camera system is not, the in-car camera system is not ready yet. The software needs to be installed, and that's coming in a few weeks. So we had to have the company come down and do that. But everything else is ready, set to go. So pretty happy with that. So the two new cars are on the road, and they look good.
Good.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Yeah, Mayor, just informed the board that our other truck is back from Braun, rust repair, so we have all 3 trucks in our city anyway.
Yeah.
Still have one in the garage, old city garage.
Yeah. But we got 2 operational right now.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get the other one back tomorrow, don't know yet.
Okay.
Anyway, all 3 of them are intact.
Good. Okay. All right. Under new business, Mike Clark, Lighthouse Drive rehab authorizations.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And actually, I've got 2 projects here. These are part of a meeting I went to today, the NDOT Community Crossings Group, yeah. The grant fund that we're going to try to work on some permits. So there are some timing issues right here. I'm going to try to get as many of the projects on the books applied for on this as possible. So I have 2 tonight. One is the Lighthouse Drive rehab, which is the road down there behind UDF and Arby's. We've got some pretty serious stormwater issues. It's not with the pipe or the structures, but with the castings. They're an oddball size. They failed. Actually, I had to put some cones up because they're in such bad shape. So that project, I'd like to get authorization to go ahead and get the engineer's estimate, minimal design, and go ahead and get that moving for this funding. And what that would entail is retrofitting our standard J10 castings, and we'd probably have to replace at least one section of rolled curb on each side of the catch basins that are there, then do a mill overlay and restripe on that. And I don't know if you want to address these separately or as a...
Yeah, I think we'll take them separately, but let me explain the funding mechanism. What he's talking about is these projects that we're going to try to get on the books or to get out is Community Crossings grant is a pot of money that the state has and that they're offering up to cities and towns and counties, actually, right?
Correct.
We qualify for 75-25, which means if we want $100,000, we only have to put in 25. They'll give us 75. Okay, so if we have $500,000 worth of grants, we only put 25% of that money in, and we get 75% from the state. So I did tell Mike, I said we probably ought to check in to see if anything we need to do that is coming up in the next 2 to 3 years that we could move up to now. That way we can use the state's money and not use our own. So this is one of those that you were going to put on that.
One of them for this year, and we did receive two last year, the
Exactly.
Walker rehab, and also the Pribble Road, which is going to be awarded at the next meeting. That's
Right.
still on last year. So
Right.
we have received 2 of these in the past, and I assume we'll receive a couple of them again this year.
And I think last year there was a
It was a
50-50.
50-50 last year.
This year they've given everybody a deal. If you qualify, I think you have to be a city under 10,000 people.
Correct.
And then you qualify for 75% and you pay 25.
Where does Lighthouse Drive stop? Does it go up and go on a circle and
It's
stop? or does it-
cul-de-sac to cul-de-sac. And, there's one just to the east of the UDF, and there's one just to the west of Arby's.
And that one's a private drive?
Beyond the,
Beyond that?
beyond the cul-de-sac, it's
Couldn't do
private.
any
No,
work over there, okay.
no.
And then the
We do have some repairs we're doing to utility line on that concrete section.
and then I noticed some of the catch basins are, that's what you're
Exactly,
talking about.
right, and, and we'll have to tear the whole thing out, each one of them, and retrofit however we have to make the standard casting fit on those boxes.
Right.
Okay, so I'd like to take these individually if we could. So I entertain a motion, unless you got more questions about the Lighthouse Drive, I'd entertain a motion to allow this project to go out for an engineering estimate. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, that's the
Primary.
first piece that I have to have on it.
Right. Okay.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. The next one is the 4th Street intersection improvements with utility relocation authorization.
Yeah, and I think everyone's actually aware of this. We're going to soften the radius at Front Street on 4th and also at Main Street on 4th. I did find out, Owen, I'm sorry, but the utility relocations are not eligible for this.
For the grant?
Funding. But I still have this on the books. It's still a project I think we need to get done sooner than later.
Okay. Any questions regarding the 4th Street project, folks? All right, I'll entertain a motion to move forward with getting to the next step on the 4th Street intersection improvements.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry.
Your Honor, if I could, I'm just going to try to ask permission because of the criteria that I just learned about today. We had a couple projects that I thought we were going to include that are not eligible for this money.
Right.
There is a timing restraint on this to get applications completed, cost estimate completed, couple other items, and get it sent up to NDOT. If I come up with other projects that are on the books, I would like to have a little bit of leeway and permission to go ahead and move forward with those. And at this moment, I really can't tell you what they are. I'm going to attempt to put the speed tables in this.
Okay.
I haven't got a clarification on that.
Okay.
If that's eligible or not, but I'm just going to try to get whatever I can to get subsidized.
Okay, and I agree with that. I want to give as much onto this so we can use their money that we can. But you can give us another update, say at the 19th meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
And then at July 3rd meeting, because I think we don't owe this paperwork back to the 15th.
Yeah, they have to have everything before the 14th of July.
Okay, so we'll have another update then on the 19th and then one on the 3rd of July meeting. Okay. All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, next item is, I'm going to ask for, we have an EMS employee that is in poor health right now, and has been off for a number of weeks, actually 25 weeks, I believe. I am going to ask for an extension of that leave of absence to September 1st, but it will be without pay. He's run out of the pay piece, so I'll entertain a motion to approve that. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then under the same instance, I would ask for permission for us to go ahead and advertise for a position, an EMS position, going forward. So we're going to need to fill that position. Right now, we've been covering it with overtime, and the overtime, quite honestly, is killing us. So.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. I don't have any other new business unless somebody else does. We'll go to old business. Mr. Clark, street tree inventory and management plan.
Yes, Your Honor, I just wanted to update the board on this project. We awarded this at the last meeting. When I sat down with the contractor, the consultant, to try to get the contract executed, I found out that they had pricing for everything that was required in the bid package, but it was not included in their lump sum amount. So I did discuss this with Mr. Weldon. I gave them the opportunity to either bite the bullet and say, hey, we'll do it for that amount, or to send me notification that they're requesting to withdraw their bid or their quote. They chose to do that. I went ahead and re-advertised because this is something that we still need to get on. In fact, it's in today's paper, and it'll come back up. I know the firm that we awarded it to is going to rebid it this time appropriately, but it'll come back up at the 19th.
I'd like to see another firm bid against them.
There again, the gal from IDNR told me,
Right.
she gave me a list, but she said there's probably only one because most of them aren't big enough to pay all the mobilization cost.
Gotcha.
Because nobody's close to us down here.
Okay. All right. That was just more for information?
Yes.
Okay. Any other old business, guys?
I mean, Mike, if this comes back and you feel like it's just went way out the roof, you'll analyze it?
I will. I was actually shell-shocked at how low the price was, because initially we got a $10,000 grant for this. It was a $20,000 grant, which actually figured out to about 50% of what the project was going to cost. And it came in at, I don't remember, it was right around 20,000. I thought, well, that's about half of what I had priced things out, preliminarily. So expect it to be double, though. I mean, that's what I anticipated from the beginning.
All right.
Okay. We'll deal with that when it comes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, if no other business, we'll entertain a motion to approve the claims. Second? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Parks and playgrounds as soon as we're seated.
Yeah.
Come on, move it along. Thanks, Moot.
Yeah. 10 years, what is the limit?
Hey, Aaron, you've been proud of me. I had a pink shirt on the other day.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for June 1st, 2017. Could we get a roll call, please? Maybe?
No, I'm good there. Sorry. Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
All right, any announcements? All right, now I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. New business. Got a request to use the trailhead parking area for a mock crime scene by the prosecutor's office. I think they did the same thing last year. And they're just asking for permission to use it again this year. And I'm sorry, I do not have the date in front of me. I can't remember what that was. I apologize, but any questions about that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I defend it, Mayor? Can I be the defensive thing?
Or you can do whatever you want, but I'm not going to do anything to make them mad. All right, that motion will carry. All right, next item is Rebecca Hughes, Color Run Charity Benefit. Come to the podium, please.
Hi, how's everyone?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank
Good.
you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
It's my first time, so...
That's okay. We don't bite.
Okay, just slow.
Yeah, this low.
I propose to bring something fun and entertaining to Lawrenceburg. So basically, over the past few years, me and a fellow group of friends of mine have always done the charitable help organizations, and we never had something collectively ourselves. So we actually created a nonprofit group called Picture the Calls. And what Picture the Calls is we have people come to us who necessarily don't have EINs or they need some type of sponsorship, and we help bring their dream to life. And this is close to my heart. My Aunt Donna Simpson, her son, she lost him a few years back, and she actually has a memorial account called the Joseph Simpson Memorial Fund. And this fund actually helps people who have loss of child during any type of instance, or people who just expenses, because when somebody passes away, that's the last thing that you ever want to think about. So some of the money that we've done, we actually help people and pretty much whatever. So she asked me to sponsor her, and I heard a couple Abbots up here. So Donna Wagner, is there anybody? No? Okay. That's my aunt, so I didn't know if maybe you guys knew her or not.
Okay.
So anyway, I want to do a collar run. And I want to do a 5K, and I would like to do it at the community center or wherever you would deem appropriate. Basically, collar runs are a way to express fun. The best thing when people do fundraisers is you have kids, you have adults, and adults don't have time to be chasing after the kids, and the kids don't have time to be chasing after the adults. So if anybody's ever participated in a collar run before, and I apologize for saying collar and stuff, it's my hillbilly in me.
Fit right in with us.
But that's right. There's nothing wrong with that. So basically, Cincinnati has sponsored a collar run before, and it's $35 for registration fee per person. And generally, the cost of that is about $15 to $20 per person that they charge, and they get the kickback, which is really not a lot of money. I actually have reached out to Collar Blaze, which is an organization that actually divvies out to multiple schools, and they will collectively let me do it for $10 per person. So we were going to do a $25 registration for the first person, and then $20 per person afterwards. That will provide them with a shirt, sunglasses, 2 tattoos, a bracelet, everything that they could possibly think of. And they are willing to participate and give us a half a pound of collar per person. And we're going to set up 3 collar stations. And like I said, where you guys would deem applicable to do marathon, because I know Lawrenceburg has done things with like the Laurel Hill and other cancer type foundations for those 5Ks. So basically this will allow me to be able to carry out a dream of mine, which is bringing fun to Lawrenceburg and fun to our community. It's something different, you know, great advertisement for us. And I would like to continue doing this every year to become successful. I have 2 businesses already that are going to sponsor me. They're actually in Cincinnati, people that I know. We do have a memorial GoFundMe we just kicked off. My business, my nonprofit does have an EIN, and we're working on getting our 501(c), yes, whatever that, yeah, and our N Corp through an attorney service. So we are definitely spinning our wheels, and I know it's a quick turnaround, and I appreciate your consideration. So July 15th is the date. The time, again, it's, if y'all help me, because like I said, this is all new for me. And let's do this, you know, let's have something for the community. Bring your kids out, your grandkids. It's a course that'll have 3 stations. The color powder is basically a baking soda, cornstarch type mix, and it's dyed with all natural colors. You wear white, I've wore pink fluffy tutus, you name it. And you run or walk through, and we douse color from down, and you just dust it off. We'll have water stations for people. We'll have cleanup stations. We're looking at having 4 volunteers per station. And then we're looking at needing some EMTs. I do have people I know that are EMTs that will volunteer, along with police officers who will volunteer from previous memorial funds that we've done for the Joseph Simpson Memorial Fund. So basically, I'm looking at your guidance, because again, this is the first time for me, your approval with pretty please cherry on top. And seeing if the city would be willing to back us up too and sponsor us with a donation. And I will go door to door. I will stand outside the courthouse and I will pass out flyers, and I am a person that's a 100%. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'll do it. And this is a passion of mine, because I don't want any child or any person who passes away, is that we all know somebody, we've all had somebody who's close to our hearts, and that's the last thing that the family wants to do. So if that organization can be helped through us and through the city of Lawrenceburg, God bless and thank you.
So who's this money going to go to?
This money, so the money,
your foundation,
so what my foundation does is we actually are like the whole kit and caboodle. We will collect all the funds and everything, and then once we're done, whoever's been paid, we have our final total, we directly donate that to the memorial fund or to whoever the family is that we're sponsoring.
So, okay, you're not currently a 501(c)(3).
No, we're in the process of getting
Why do you need to be a 501(c)(3) if you're just donating the money to a memorial fund?
I'm going through a service called Rocket Lawyer, and the lawyer that I was working on was talking about.
That's where we got Dell. We hired Dell from Rocket.
Oh, okay. I'm going by the guidance of the attorney service they provided to me. But again, if I have anybody who can help, help me. Like I said, I'm spinning my wheels, and this is the very first thing I've done myself outside of my company that I work for. But yeah, like I said, you guys are tenured. You've been here, been doing this for a long time. So if you know more than me, I will soak in your advice.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We can give you some advice. I mean, most of our 5Ks are up on the trail.
Okay.
Okay, but it sounds like I don't know how messy this is going to get and who's going to do all the cleanup.
Oh, we'll have people who volunteer.
Right.
Basically, it's like chalk.
Okay.
Once you're done, I mean, you dust
it washes right off.
And it washes right off. It's all non-toxic.
It's not hurtful to the ground, grass, anything. I would go ahead.
We have one 5K scheduled for July 15th.
Is there one I was going to have to check with Carrie after tomorrow morning, but we got a 5K? Who is that?
Soccer.
Okay.
We're flexible on our date.
Okay. Well, what I would encourage you to do then is, number one, you'll have to meet with the police chief.
Okay.
Okay. And number two, you can call my office and she can maybe direct you on some dates, because we got a list of all the current 5Ks that have come before us and such. And that number is 812-532-3552. Her name's Carrie. And if we get all this worked out and everything, that's who you would go to for a donation as well, because she controls the donation committee.
Okay.
But do you guys have anything to add to this young lady? I mean, I don't think I don't know that we've had a lot of 5Ks that weren't 501(c)(3)s or nonprofits, but
I don't think
I didn't know how.
You don't have to be that to go to our donation committee
No,
either, do you?
no.
Okay,
All
right.
No, but those are, you need to see my assistant and then also the police chief.
Okay.
And they can point you in the right direction.
How you doing later?
And then after you get a date, maybe come back and see us and say, hey, we're looking at this date.
Okay.
Is that okay with you guys? Everybody? All right. Okay?
Absolutely. So see you guys at next meeting, and we're good to go.
Whatever. What you do is just get a date ironed out and then get back on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay?
Gotcha.
All right.
That works
Thanks, so.
for me.
We appreciate
Thank
your willingness. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other new business? Any old business?
I just got a
Yes, sir.
couple of things I'd like followed up on.
All right.
For next meeting.
What's that?
Dog plaque, Chick Swing's picture, and Pat O'Neill's picture. I don't.
The dog plaque?
Mayor, Mayor?
Yeah.
On Paul, and I've talked to Mario about this before. I just had an idea because I think the issue we're having with Chick Swing and Pat O'Neill's pictures are that we can't find a photograph that's good enough quality for them to turn into a plaque. An idea that I had would be for Adam Gillum, the local businessman, to do a drawing of the picture and then give that to them, and then they would be able to make it into a plaque. I think he could do that pretty easily, and that would solve the problem. So I think that's been the hang-up, Mario.
It has, as of last week, Marty at the sign store was still on a check with the library to see if they could find a last-ditch effort to get a hold of both photos. She does have one of Pat O'Neill that she thinks will transfer.
Okay.
So it's being worked on. How about the dog plaque?
The dog plaque, we have the plaque. I think we were waiting for summer help to do that. We have the stone in place. I think they were going to pressure wash it this week.
Plaque's in-house right now.
And yeah, I think we spoke with Carl earlier part of this week. I think he just got busy.
All right.
We could get him on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right, I entertain a motion to approve the claims. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. All right, utility board. We're all seated. All right, we'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Utility Board meeting for June 1st, 2017. Roll call, please.
Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon.
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen.
Present.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements? Mr. Clausen?
Yeah, I do. I've got one announcement. We've got two of our utility employees who had losses in the family this week. So Scott McAdams and Bobby Abbott, and also somebody that the utilities is kind of closely related to that we work with is the Milan family, Kevin Milan's family. So I just want to remind everybody about that and to be mindful of them. So.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other announcements from anybody? I'll entertain a motion then to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Committee reports, anything, Mr. Foster?
Yes, Your Honor. I've got an update on a couple items and then some announcements. We've been talking for some time now about our fiber optic plan proposal. I'm happy to report that we've concluded kind of all of our reviews, the 90% review. We're going to go back through those items with the IT committee and just make sure that we've covered all the bases. But we really expect to have those those documents out for solicitation sometime in the next 2 weeks, which kind of puts us mid-July to potentially mid to end of July to get people who are interested in bidding on the project back, go through those bids, and then do an awarding of that project. So we're still on track, honestly, to get the fiber optics out in the city and deployed, and begin the process of lighting it, getting the cameras, security cameras and so forth attached to that system by October. So I think that's good news. I think it's going to be a benefit to the community. Along that line, I know that it's going to be. Along that line, some of the projects that we did early on, which was the outdoor speakers along Walnut Street here, we had hoped that we'd have some additional uses for that infrastructure for other things. And so starting this next week, we're going to have in the downtown area, kind of from Walnut Street, what's the street here with the railroad tracks? Williams, thank you. Up to High Street, in those areas, we're going to have free Wi-Fi. So that Wi-Fi, I don't know the name of it yet because the APIs aren't installed, but we'll have free Wi-Fi that'll be there for all the events, the regatta, the bike races, and it'll be there from now on. And we hope to extend this platform throughout the community. So have this free Wi-Fi, and it's not going to be super fast, but it's going to provide people with access and be able to, when they're downtown Lawrenceburg shopping or dining or doing whatever, they'll have that available to them. As this develops, there would potentially be some increased speeds to that Wi-Fi, but for additional costs. And we're slowly rolling this out, so bear with us in the process. But I do want to commend the IT committee for working through these things, and for this mayor and this council allowing us to do that pilot project on the speakers, which now is going to have many other more beneficial things. Some of the other things that we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to have the ability to patch into the system, so when we have events downtown, people will be able to use a microphone and announce the things that are going on. It'll be over the entire speaker system. So there's some things that we're really maximizing those investments, and I'm happy to report those things. Also, this council has asked us to look at ways of looking at the intersection of 50 and Walnut Street, where the arches are, to kind of, that's kind of the gateway to the downtown area. We had an individual who was in today that met with Mario and I that is looking at ways to light that structure where you can see it a little better in the evenings. The Color Kinetics product that we're looking at using will allow us to do some neat things, such as, one example would be when Lawrenceburg scores its winning touchdowns or a touchdown, we'd be able to light the entire thing blaze orange and do things like that remotely. And do things during the holiday season and things of that nature that will be neat to see and kind of maybe attract people to come into the downtown area. So we've got some really good things that we're working on, and obviously it's with the support of the Utility Service Board and Council that we can do these things. So I'll have a proposal for the council to look at, hopefully by next meeting. It'll have different intensities of lighting for that structure. They're going to bring a product out and actually install it on the structure so that you'll be able to see it at night, see what it looks like before we commit to anything. So I think that you'll be pleased with the end result. We passed an ordinance from the Board of Works, or I don't know if you call it an ordinance, where we designated our utilities as underground utilities. Since we've done that, we have begun the process of looking at some of the mini cell technology, some of the stuff that can be paired with our fiber optics build out. So that my assumption is that the legislature is going to work on ways to get around some of the things that we've put in place, like the undergrounding utilities, to provide access to these companies coming in and just doing as they please. And so we are proactively working on a plan to roll out our own mini cell platform that we would then make available to any cell company that wanted to lease and traffic over that. What that allows us to do is maintain what they look like, where they're placed, to avoid areas that we don't want stuff installed so that it's not intrusive, so you don't have a 50 or 60-foot wood pole on a corner of an intersection that otherwise all utilities are undergrounded. So we're working on those things and hope to give you more information on that as we progress in that. So that's really all I've got for committee reports.
Okay?
Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Clausen? Okay, next would be new business. Mr. Clausen, you got a chloride investigation proposal.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to turn the time over to Andy Lyons, Superintendent of Water Department.
All right. Shame on you.
This one might be in their packet.
Yeah, that one was.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Andy.
I do have one. I do have one.
We have one of these, Andy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything's just for reference. I don't know how much you guys know about the chloride problem that we uncovered back in 2005 when we were investigating a site for our drinking water wells. There's a high concentration of chlorides in an area over near the fairgrounds, between the fairgrounds and the Say soccer fields. We have one well that was early on was impacted by these chlorides, but through this remediation project, we've been able to pull the chlorides away from that well and continue to use it. The problem is we're not making any ground. You know, the chlorides were 150 parts per million in 2006. We've been pumping for 10 years, and the chlorides are still 150 parts per million. We've reached out to another hydrogeologic consulting service. That is the proposal that you guys did have in your packet, and I've included in my handout. They are suggesting us to do an electromagnetic survey, and then a direct push investigation, and then evaluation of all the results. This electromagnetic survey is something new that we haven't done in this area before. The push investigation is something that similar to what we did back in 2005, 2006. Both are going to help to identify where the concentration of these chlorides, the salt water, is, and then through more sampling of the soils and the aquifer and of the chlorides themselves, the chemical makeup of the chlorides themselves, it's going to help us to determine where they originated. Right now and all along, we've been under the impression that these chlorides originated from Greendale's water treatment plant. It's a backwash discharge from their softening system and overflows from their tank system, just as it happens. It's an oversight or it's a level control issue. They've had multiple spills of their salt system, enough so that it runs over the hill, kills all the grass in the area, makes it pretty obvious that it's happening. It's still happening occasionally. I don't think they've had one in the last 8 months, but maybe 9 months ago they had one. How many before that, who knows? So through the chemical analysis of the chlorides themselves, this geofirm believes that they're going to be able to determine whether or not those chlorides are coming from Greendale softening plant, or if it's a natural deposit of some sort, or if they are coming up from an underground gas well.
Right.
Fissures, fractures in the area. We know that they're there. There used to be a gas well in the area. The same system of gas well extends all through this city. So there's a chance that that's leaking up through and into the aquifer. So we'll probably do some methane testing of the waters in the aquifer, which will help us determine if there's natural gas leaching up, and then the chemical makeup, if that turns out to tell us that where those chlorides come from. But if you look at the third page in the handout that I gave you, it's a colored graph. That's the first resistivity study that we did. The push study that they're proposing is something similar to that. It'll give us a good idea of where the concentration is today versus where it was in 2005. That, along with the electromagnetic survey,
will give them a more concentrated area to look in.
So more importantly, though, it'll give us the source of the,
Correct. We hope
right?
so.
Well, we hope so,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that way, if it is Greendale's, then we go Greendale.
How about if I ask a dumb question on this, Andy? Remember years ago when they were drilling for the school and they hit the salt water, didn't they?
Salt water and natural
And
gas
then they
pocket.
sealed that. Could that be spreading underground now?
We don't think so. We believe that they got that capped off properly. And if it's not, the natural flow of the aquifer is actually the opposite direction. So we don't believe that's where it's originated at all. So, but that is part of the same gas fissure and fracturing system that's under our aquifer. And that was a big problem. It was a big mess. It was another big cost Lawrenceburg incurred. And I don't know if we ever were made whole remotely on that project. I don't think we were.
Nowhere near, I don't think.
Is this $404,000 for the remediation? This is what we spent over the last 10 years?
And that's an estimation, and I think it's a conservative estimation. I had Vicki pull some numbers back to 2007 that she had in some spreadsheets. I did not have her go to the painstaking efforts of pulling old receipts to.
This is probably at a minimum.
This is.
Yeah, the idea was to try to get some idea of the cost, but not just overwhelm, because you could spend her entire time trying to get the.
Right, good point, okay.
So the new study is roughly about, 10% of what we figured we've spent to date. I believe we're both recommending that we move forward with that study, get it completed, try to. We're spinning our wheels. Our two remediation wells aren't in the right area. They were there. We made use of them. It was a good idea. It saved us a lot of money to start with, but realistically, we need to find the concentration, sink a new well there, a capable well, which these two wells that we have aren't very capable, and make some headway. And
That's another project, right? I mean,
It is, and it kind of, it's going to flesh out, the study's going to flesh out maybe what our path forward is.
Okay.
Some of the concerns we have, there's been some talk about relocations of plants and different things like this. And some of the things that have been done that probably made sense, like there's a French drain system that's been put in place that kind of starts at the top of where this problem's developed and goes down towards our wells. Well, that was put to keep those areas dry and to help get the water out of the areas. But the problem is if we have water that's contaminated coming down in, we've now given that water an expressway to migrate to other areas and spread the pollution.
Okay.
And so it's important for us that if we do a project back there, I don't want to spend money and time and effort to build something that we then contaminate. I just think it's in everybody's interest to identify the problem and do what we can to mitigate it.
Is there any way to tie this into the, we should be getting some conversation going on with Structure Point and Mundell. Is there any, should these things overlap?
I think that they definitely, even if it's tangentially, they're definitely associated. One's going to affect the other.
Well, but we have to do this study first.
Yeah, we need useful data. We need to understand where it's coming from, if it's changed from the study that was done in 2005. So that I'm glad that we have those things because it'll show us a trend or a baseline and where we got additional problems. But really and truly, the ultimate concern is our drinking water sources are in those areas, and we need to all be concerned about protecting that and keeping that from contaminating those drinking water sources.
And what Paul was also talking about was looking at a joint project with Greendale, the LCD, and the city to move the existing pump station or parts of it that's up on US 50 there to the back end of the fairgrounds somewhere. And that place hasn't been determined either. There's some preliminary, there's some engineering work, I guess, that's a better word, right, Paul, being done on that. But yeah, I would think these two projects would probably mesh.
Yeah, they'll dovetail well.
Yeah. Okay.
We do this, and we find out what we have to do. Are there any federal grants out there to help us? I mean, with this as being our water?
It's not my area.
We can investigate that.
I would think there'd be some sort of federal grants to help us out on this to protect our water.
Yeah, I mean, even at the state level, there may be something that we can,
I'm sure there's
Also
something.
look at-
Yeah, I'm sure there's something available.
yeah. Okay, any more questions regarding this proposal? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the path forward on the chloride investigation issue.
We aren't gonna go at Greendale with a bunch of fangs and teeth hanging out here, are we?
No.
Okay.
Well, we don't even know if they're even a part of it.
No, and I would imagine that.
Not until we find out they are part of it.
I would imagine.
Then the teeth come out.
If we determine that the cause of the contamination is a process that is associated with their system, I would assume that we'd find ourselves at a table discussing that, number one, to be able to avoid it from ever happening again.
Right.
And maybe have an amicable discussion about how to mitigate the problem.
We're good neighbors.
I
That's
hope.
what I need to hear, that's what I wanna hear.
We're good neighbors.
I hope that's what it is, because that's gonna be the easiest one to fix.
It potentially. We did have, if you look at that fourth page on that sheet, that graph, you'll see one spike that, one serious spike that happened in 2014 on the chlorides. That actually happened during a week or two when LCD had asked us to turn our pumps off. And then they have a collection system out there that Olin alluded to that collects, some upper crust groundwater, and just dries the area up in his pump station. So that sample was actually drawn from waters from his pump station that is pulling.
Then we'll accuse the teeth and fangs of the LCD.
Yeah. But, so those high chlorides came from the top 6 feet of ground.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to see the results and how serious this problem is, take a walk on the Greendale levee and look how nice and green the fields are, and then look where we discharge and look at the trees.
Well, it's hard on the pumps, and it's caustic.
It
hard
costs
on
me money on my pumps, it's wear and tear, so yeah, I'd like to see it go away. I just want it to be a nice, friendly teamwork effort and get it, fix a problem. Mario's got something.
Mario.
May see if it qualifies for a brownfield once you get your
Good
data.
point.
Yep.
We'll reapply for brownfield. Yeah, good point. Very good point.
I'd like to make a motion, we move forward.
All right, how about a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Any other new business?
No, Your Honor.
Any old business?
No, Your Honor.
I got some more business. Got a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Ain't heard anything from anybody at all on our little rewards to the good customers, and I had a little idea that might help it out a little bit, just for the thinkers to think about.
Let's hear it.
What if we were to set a limit, instead of looking at an amount and worrying about how much it's gonna cost us, what if we were just to say, we are willing to put, 300 grand in a pot? You divvy it up. That's as high as it'd go. Because I think part of the issue is that everybody worries about, well, what's it gonna cost us? What if there's 3,000 people or 3,500 people? I just want reports on it. I want to know it's being thought about, and I wanted to throw that out there, because I'm not going to give up on this.
Well, listen, I don't think anybody's against the rewards. It's how we can do it legally. That's the only piece that everybody's looking at right now.
And we are looking at it.
Yes.
If it helps the board, I could bring in an outside attorney, Greg Nyberger, who you're familiar with, we've been working with. I can provide him with questions ahead of time, We could do it through a conference call, or it needs to be probably in a public setting.
Yes.
But I can have him here to discuss. You can ask him any question you want, and he can talk about the pros and cons of it, and have him think through how we can stay on the right side of the rules and regs.
Now, the one thing that I want to know, and how we're going to do this. I mean, there's a lot of rental out there that those guys pay their rent every month, but the landlord pays the electric bill, so they don't share in that. I don't think it's fair.
I think you're in the infant stage here. I
was going to say, if they don't share, I don't think that's fair.
Well, here's my point to you. I own some of them buildings, and if they ain't willing to go get their electric in their name, then they don't need to worry about it.
So you get a check for each one of the buildings you own?
I need a check for that. Well, I'm exempt from it as a landlord. If I pay that bill, I don't get that reward.
That's what I mean. Will they be exempt from it then, all landlords, or?
I don't care if all landlords.
Just thinking out loud, we could limit it to where there's no duplication in a name. So
Yeah.
if there's two Tony Abbotts, only one of them's getting a credit. Just to use the example.
Why don't you I know we talked about Greg, so I think Greg would be a good outside person to bring in on that.
Okay, I can do that.
And I would get him all this information ahead of time and let him do research, but
Okay,
that's where I would head with that.
okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you done?
I'm done.
All right, anybody else hold business? Tony? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. We'll call to order the City of Lawrenceburg City Council meeting for June 1st, 2017. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs. Mr. Aaron Cook. I'm sorry, let's do a roll call first.
That got me pretty quick.
Sorry. Yeah, roll call. I'm sorry, Suzanne, thank you.
Member Tony Abbott?
Here.
Member Aaron Cook?
Here.
Member Mel Davis?
Here.
Member Randy Abner?
Here.
Member Paul Seymour Jr.?
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs?
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine?
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills?
Here.
City Attorney Del Weldon?
Here.
Utility Director Olin Clausen?
Present.
Mayor Kelly Moran?
Here.
And myself.
Okay, now, how about Mr. Cook? Report on streets, alleys, and curbs.
Okay, I was at the speed tables are working well on both streets that they're on currently. I've noticed the car slowing down on those two streets. I want to check on the fence at 215 Center, what the status of that was.
The fencing contractor met with those folks, I believe, yesterday.
Okay.
He did turn in 2 prices to us. We've got to go through those pricings yet.
Okay. And then, has anybody talked to the Coffin Burgers yet at all? You talked to them? Yeah. Okay. And the last thing is, there's another tree at 527 Front. I guess you can't park under it. It's, the branches are low, and I guess it's growing into the gutters, or about to grow into the gutters. But they said, I haven't looked at it, but it has a big X on it. So I don't know if that's when it's supposed to come down eventually, or I don't know. Has an X on it, though?
Check that tonight on the way home.
Okay. And that was all I had, Mayor.
Well, just so you know, the complaint that we've had about limbs being down in the parking areas and stuff,
Yeah.
we're going to be, well, actually next week when we get more summer help here, we're going to have people assigned to going up and down every road.
Okay.
And then taking those limbs down as they see them.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. They said it had an X on it. I don't know if that one's supposed to come down because of
It may be one.
Removal.
Okay, yeah.
you know.
That was all I had, Mayor. I'd like to add something to that. I got with Mario on some speed humps for the alleyways.
Yeah.
I give him the ones that I know of, so if anybody else knows anywhere that you might need speed humps, not tables, these are all humps, aren't they?
Humps, correct.
A little
They're
bit
not as
smaller.
large as the table.
in one of your districts or something, get with Mario and let him know, please. There is one alley that I forgot as my own.
Okay.
So add that on there, please, because we have the apartment buildings here, and they just speed up and down that one.
Let's just put them out on US 50.
Let's put ramps on US
Put
50.
them on US 50, 48, let's just do it all over the city. Everybody's gonna go 22 mile an hour.
And Tony, we're getting.
If it saves one life, that's all right.
I agree with you, Tony.
Pricing also,
Give
so
me
we're
a
not gonna get
contact.
sticker shocked also.
Okay.
So we should have, hopefully next week.
Well, the
that-
speed humps, would be a lot less than the speed tables, wouldn't it
Right.
be?
You were getting some pricing on that, right, Mario?
Correct.
Right, he was gonna bring it back to
At
us.
Connie's Island, yeah.
Okay, he was gonna bring us pricing back.
Okay.
Randy, you got something?
Yeah, I got one thing. I was approached up on the hill there, some people cutting some grass, blowing grass out into the curbs without cleaning things up, letting it go down in the drains when it rains, stuff like that. Could we possibly maybe get Dell to look into something we could take action on these people that's not cleaning up their areas, that they blow it out in the middle of the street and just leave a mess out there? It is dangerous out there for motorcycles and stuff like that, and if it gets in the drain, then we gotta come probably suck the drains out with the utility departments.
Hey, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm probably the most anal person when it comes to yard work. I mean, I agree with you, I'm saying.
Right, I understand.
But I mean,
I was approached with this, and I just want to make sure that we get this looked into if we can.
How's everybody else feel about that? Mario?
I believe we probably have ordinance already in place to cover most of that.
It's a good idea.
Maybe we get Dale to look at it and see what he can find for us.
Randy,
Yes,
if
sir.
you could contact Carl Fryman, he's our city code enforcement
Mhm.
officer, let him know the locations. He could probably take care of it rather quickly.
Okay. I just.
Good idea. Primarily because eventually, the EPA is going to require us to clean up our stormwater.
Right.
And if we do little things now, it won't cost nearly as much later.
That's a good point.
I'd
That
like to
is a
see
good
this
point.
stuff floating right down in our drain and clogging up our drain, then we'll have to have the big vac truck up there and clean the storm sewers out.
So are we saying we got an ordinance against that? Well, let's start enforcing it.
Look that up then. Okay.
I will say under the MS4 criteria, you will have to remove all solids.
Oh, yeah.
So anything in the stormwater that's deemed a solid, food and vegetation will have to be removed, and it could be quite costly.
I can
Because then
imagine.
you have to take it, haul that, and landfill it.
Landfill, yep. Good point. Okay, good.
Go ahead.
Good, good.
Mario, I'd like to add Eddie Canoe Alley to your,
Okay.
It's already on there.
it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just people from the restaurant will go each way from it, and they really,
That would be
they're
from,
not very slow at all.
actually, it'd be from Center Street all the way down to,
Might split those two
Euphemia.
blocks in the middle.
Yeah.
Would probably be the way to do it.
Yeah. I wish there was something we could do. They've got kind of a split parking lot there, and they cross that alley. And I know I've probably had 4 or 5 incidents to where anymore, I stop, but people walk through, and they just come right through and drive right across the alley. And I don't know whether there would be something, I don't know. They just don't stop. They just come right off of Arch, and they drive right through there, and they just go right through over to the parking drive, the spot where Scott Beckett grew up.
Right.
Yeah,
From that parking lot on.
yeah, and
To the
vice
south.
versa. They'll come the other way to go in the other way. They act like the alley's just not even there. So that's probably the most dangerous spot I've been around.
Hey, well, we're getting pricing, and then we can start addressing those. What's that gonna mean for like snow removal? Do we do anything with snow removal in the alleys anyway?
Yeah.
After we're done with the streets,
When you're
if we
done,
can.
you always-
We gotta make sure we're designing something that,
Right.
It still has to be snowplow friendly.
yes, okay.
I don't know if the humps. That'd be very.
Humpty hump. All right.
Well, the humps are in Hidden Valley, and they plow theirs, so,
The big humps you talking about?
yeah. Well, they're not big. These are the ones in front of the ball field. And one side
plows is what we need.
is Grant, and
Hump-friendly
the other
plows.
side is kind of drop
All right.
off. That's what I've
It
seen.
has on their side,
Yeah.
side
Yeah.
street there.
All right, anything else there, Mr. Street Alleys and Curbs?
That's all I had, Mayor. Tag team.
How about finance, Tony Abbott?
Everything's good.
All right, Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour Jr.
We're good.
And Fire, Randy Abner.
June 10th at CNR Towing, they're going to have auto extrication with Hoosier Fire coming down to do some training with the guys
June 10th?
and gals. June 10th, yes.
10th.
Get your gear ready,
Yeah,
man.
that'll be a full day of cutting up cars.
Bring any new stuff down?
Well, yeah, demo, but
Okay. That's always new stuff to look at.
Okay. All right, well, thank you. I've got one announcement before we move on. I got a message from the Historical Society. Evidently, they want to put a plaque up on the levee honoring a gentleman by the name of Elijah Anderson. This gentleman was instrumental in helping 1,000-plus slaves escape to freedom. He was an African-American blacksmith who lived in Lawrenceburg from just prior to 1850 to 1854, but during that time, I guess he was one of the most active Underground Railroad conductors. They said he would pound on his anvil a code that could be heard across the river on the shores of Kentucky, and a code letting escapees know it was safe to cross into Indiana and be on their way to freedom. So the Historical Society is asking for permission. They said they had the permission from the previous administration. Aaron, you may remember this. I don't know. For placement of a plaque near the Ivy Tech campus on the levee. Now, the only thing I would ask is they would get permission of where. But other than that, I mean, I'm okay with it if everybody else is. But
We usually get the blessing from Conservancy.
okay.
That area.
Well, that's probably.
If you can
What if we would go,
give
I'm
me
sorry.
copies of that, and then I'll put it on our next agenda.
what if we would go up on the levee itself, on our levee walk? Wouldn't it be a place, nicer place for it, you know?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Gives something for them to read when they're doing the levee walk.
I'm okay with wherever you guys want it, but I think that's right. We probably would need to get permission from the LCD.
People like reading those.
Yeah, oh yeah. People coming from out of town, they will stop and read that. Okay. I would like to call the lady back tomorrow and let her know that we're going to push it on, so I will need a copy of that.
I can come back tomorrow and get a copy.
You okay with that?
Can she email it to me?
Yeah, oh yeah, she'll get it to you. I'll have Carrie get it to you. Okay. Everybody's okay, we'll pass it on to LCD and then we'll go from there. I just want to make everybody aware. Okay. I turned to the wrong council agenda. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
the only thing I have, everybody should have a copy of the May call stats in front of you.
Okay. All right. Police Chief Donnie Combs.
Thank you, Mayor. We're doing a lot of public relations with the community around here. Just a couple weeks ago, we went to McDonald's in contact with us. They call it Cookies with Cops. McDonald's, we had 2 police officers down there, and some names, some kids. It was a very, very good turnout. Showed them what we do, what we wear, and just talk to them with all that.
They should really have it at Dunkin'.
Doing a lot of things like that. We're discussing, we're going to our crisis intervention team training for next year. We're discussing that. We've been helping out with a lot of school activities. The last days of school this past week here, a bunch of kids have been crossing the sidewalk into the swimming pool. I had my guys out there walking the streets and the sidewalks.
Good.
Just doing things of that sort. I also wanted to mention that our quick response team, we had a meeting this past week with Greendale involved
Yep.
in that too. So just looking that way, and guide them in that direction. Flourishing, so it's looking better now.
Well, I'll be the one to say this. When's Donuts with Detectives? All right, we'll move on.
It's funny, I don't know.
All right.
That's all I have.
All right, the EMS Director, Bobby Mills.
Have no further.
All right. Okay, new business, first item, be school grants. You know, every year in our budget, we have a line item that, for X number of dollars, set aside for the, four community school, or four school corporations, or three school corporations, and then us, as well St. Lawrence is a part of this, in our county. And, I think they're represented tonight just to come and with a thank you, so to speak, which we always appreciate. So, Mr. Gailey, anybody want to come? And if you guys want, the thing is, you get Mr. Gailey talking, you got to tell him, you got to cut him off, because I've worked with this guy for 15 years, and
I started creating a list while I was sitting back here.
I bet you did.
He said, joke. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council. Again, I just want to thank you for supporting the schools throughout the years. It's greatly appreciated, so I wanted to thank you. Also, just quickly, a couple things with the grant, thank you. Also, as was mentioned, thank you for the police and the help. The swimming pool also helping the Central kids were down there this week, so appreciate the assistance and everything from your wife and everything. I think they had a great time. The weather worked out well, so thank you for that. Also wanted to just mention and thank Mr. Clausen. He assisted the school corporation with a grant that we put together through the foundation, and I've just received it this afternoon, have not even had time to alert our board. I'll be doing that tomorrow, that we received most of that grant, so that was exciting news. So I wanted to thank Mr. Clausen for his assistance on that, the utility department, because they're helping with some upgrades with one of our transformers behind the middle school, as well as the metering program that is put on by the utility. So we're going to start metering the schools so we can kind of watch, monitor, and try to see how we can improve our intake of energy as well at the schools. So they're going to work with us on that. So just wanted to thank everybody, and the Wi-Fi, that'll be exciting for the kids as well. So that'll be exciting news. So I wanted to thank you for your support of the schools. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know there's also representatives from all the school districts. So Mr. Oder from St. Lawrence is here, also Dr. Jackson, Dr. Murley from Summit Dearborn and South Dearborn as well.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you very much. The generosity that you guys have displayed definitely reflects in our attempts to make sure that our students are learning in a 21st century environment, and it directly impacts our students on an everyday level. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening. I'm Andrew Jackson, Superintendent at Summit Dearborn, and on behalf of the Board of Ed and our students and parents, I want to thank you for the grant for the last several years. We use our grant money to provide counseling services for our elementary students, and several school corporations throughout the state aren't able to do that, so we're very blessed to be able to do that for our students, give them a good foundation at the K-5 level with counseling services. And just one comment about the lighted arch out there that's going to burn bright orange every Friday night this fall. I enjoy.
Be careful.
I know, yeah.
Careful. Careful.
It's all good.
Budget's coming up, and next year.
We give us and we can take. Since we're two different classes, and it's nice to have two EIC schools go deep in the tournament. So it's nice to. I enjoy rooting for the Tigers to go deep in the tournament along with the Trojans. The only exception will be on Friday night at the Skyline Classic. We're on the schedule again, so that night I hope it's dark. But other than that, I hope it burns bright.
It will not be red, I'll tell you that.
We'll take black, though.
Or black.
Yeah, Dr. John Murley from South Carolina, we just really appreciate your generosity. I know budget's tight for you. It's tight for schools, tight everywhere, but it really does mean a lot to our kids. We've used up a lot of money to really enhance the use of technology for all our kids. So each of our kids has a Chromebook now, and it's really transformed us into a 21st century learning environment. So we do really appreciate everything that you do for South Dearborn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Before we go on, can I just remind them, same process next door, the supplemental agreements will have to be signed first.
Tell them, Susan.
All right.
Thanks.
They don't get a dime until they sign it.
That's per legal. Let me add that.
That's per Suzanne. That's per, I'll tell you that.
He's the boss.
Yeah. All right, next item is Mr. or Mrs. Rudisell, 407025 Resident Night. You want to speak upon that?
Mrs.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As in the past, this will be 5 years now, we're hoping to continue the 47025 night at the Lawrenceburg Speedway for 3 events this year. We're kind of late on getting this out due to getting the lease and everything, the agreement done and the other business. So we'd like to move ahead, move forward as quickly as possible on this and basically do what we've done in the past. And if you look, everybody should have got this in your packet. There's 3 dates in the packet. July 1st is the first one, July 22nd, August 19th. We're looking to do the same as we have for the past 4 years. Been a real, I believe it's been a hit with all the locals, Lawrenceburg, and we also include Greendale and Valley. Anybody has 47025 zip code gets in for either races them nights. So it's been a hit. I know a lot of people have been asking us, some of the council asked me about it, and so we hope to move forward with the city and get the ball rolling on this.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
This is just the credit their payments, right?
Goes against the weekly credit, yes.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I got a question.
Yes.
And I don't want to single out a group. I kind of do because I'm partial to them. Big brothers, big sisters. The last couple of years I've been giving my tickets to them, and they don't last long. I mean, my stepdaughter works for them, and they're real popular. And I didn't know how hard it might be if you guys reached out to them and could give us an idea. Would there be a bigs night maybe at the races? Because a lot of these kids can't afford to go. The bigs can't probably afford to take them. You know, it's just a thought. I don't know if it could be incorporated in to one of the Lawrenceburg nights, or maybe you guys got an idea.
Maybe you can help me, or I could call you to get some good contact information, because we have the Big Brothers office, and we've kind of gotten the runaround. But we have tried to try and do something, but you have a good contact information.
I think Dale and
Mr. Gailey's got something.
Mr. Gailey's got
Carl had
contact.
his hands up.
Because we have within the schools.
I'd like to see something done, if it could be.
I would too. I think that'd be awesome. Even if like maybe the littles and one guardian could have a free, admission here and there. Yeah.
Just to touch on that a little more, anybody, any organization, we do stuff like that all the time. Anybody that we think of, we just had some autism group, right, come in. And we work with all the less fortunate all the time, every week.
Good.
We're doing stuff. So if anybody ever has any group organization, we help fundraisers constantly. So if anybody ever has a fundraiser or an event, the lady talking earlier, we give tickets out for 5Ks, any type of thing like that. We're always giving out tickets to family 4-packs and tickets to them type of things. So contact us through our website, and Kim will get you some tickets to give away, door prizes, stuff like that. So we're real big into that, and love to help everybody we can. Thank you.
Good idea. Boy, Paul, you're good, man.
Think a lot.
We'll ask Ray Jean about that. All right.
Talking on in the corner with my nose in it, I think a lot.
Any other new business, guys, before we get too far off track here? All right, under old business, Mr. Clark, the Dowdy Road connector right away.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This is old business, but it's probably new business for this group. In fact, there is an exhibit drawing that was included in your packet. In 2012, the city made a formal request to accept and assume the right-of-way for the connector drive that NDOT built along with the bridge project. And we had a couple reasons at that time that we wanted to take this over and put it into our inventory. One was we felt we'd get a lot better service for snow removal and maintenance, upkeep. And the other, because it's the entire old Arby's site, would be that we would dedicate the center 90 feet and vacate the remainder of that odd-shaped lot to the adjoining property owners. And our thoughts on that, that's going to be square footage added back to the tax base, and both adjoiners are very interested in that, that they could possibly do some improvements, which would again help the tax base. Like I say, we did this in 2012. We just received word back, Dell, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but about 4 weeks ago.
About a month ago, yeah.
For them to release this to the city of Lawrenceburg. There's a legal process. We're working on that now. Thought we'd better bring the new board up to speed on this and just make sure that our game plan is still in play for what we decided to do back in 2012.
Mike?
Yes.
Wasn't the guy from the shopping center also talking about signage over there on that corner?
Yes, and he's very interested in that property for the signage. Now, his side, you see a whole lot of gray covering up the yellow. There's a lot of storm sewers on his side. It's not very useful except for that corner right against US 50, which is where he'd like to put a new sign for his facility. Mr. Theobald that owns Wendy's, they've done a complete remodel of theirs. They do have some parking issues, and he said, you know, they would definitely still want that property to possibly improve their parking area, possibly some additional landscaping and or signage. So I think it would be a win-win for everyone.
Okay. Any questions?
Would we have control if we did this to say, for instance, on the Wendy side, that we made them do some landscaping in the agreement?
I don't think we would do it by vacation. You could ask them, but I don't think you can put those conditions on a vacated.
On a vacated.
Right
away. But if they were building, you could make them do so much greenery and.
We have that covered in our zoning code, and that's actually based on the number of parking spaces. So if they would increase parking spaces, we'd have to revisit their landscaping plan.
Any other
Then
questions?
again, if this gets transferred, when the transfer gets finalized, you'll have two formal plats other than this color-coded exhibit. One will be a Lawrenceburg dedication plat, so we can include that into our street inventory, and the second would be a vacation plat of the area in yellow for the two adjoiners.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea, Mike, to pursue that, and thank you very much.
Anybody else? I'll entertain a motion to proceed with the connector right away of Dowdy Road.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other old business? Everybody's eager to get out of here. Comments from the audience? Everybody spoke. Connie, you want to speak? to us? I don't blame you. All right. We do have some advance payments to get approval for, guys. Hollywood Casino at $1,500. This was the second deposit for the Quilt Expo that we agreed to help fund. And then the other one is the Breakwater Powerboat Association for the regatta. The final payment, or the final amount of $42,693 was due to them. That's the final payment for the regatta. So I need approval. I need a motion to approve the advance payments.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then I'll entertain a motion to pay the rest of the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. And a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thanks for coming, everyone.
The door.
Too bad I wasn't, I got 10 minutes off. I'm getting weak. Getting weak.
Gotta use that gavel. Who made all those motions? You or Tony? At the end?
I made flip them around, they won't know.
Appreciate it, man. I do.
Where you going?
Myrtle Beach. You bet.